Okay, what's going on, you guys? Welcome back to the Jesse Lee Falls podcast. This is where we focus on the micro music business and band rescues. Um, the band rescue thing, it's kind of dorky, but ultimately, I care about other artists and I understand the mental health issues that go along with being an artist, being a creative person and the we'll call it the archetype of person and personality that is, and we run the risk of mental health issues, and so part of the reason why I wanted to do this podcast was to help other artists feel like they're not alone when you're getting frustrated, when even your band members are turning on you, or maybe you just don't you know you're having a hard time even clicking with your band members. There's a lot of isolation that comes along with being an artist and being this type of personality. So when I say band rescue, I'm really just mean, you know, helping other artists, uh, and maybe if other artists hear that there's other artists out there struggling the way that they are, it might actually help on some of the suicide rate when it comes to musicians and artists. And well, wouldn't that be nice? So, not to go down a dark road, this is actually a very exciting day for me because if you listen to my last podcast, which is exclusively on YouTube, um, I started this podcast. I just started. I didn't know what I was doing, and I've exclusively been going through YouTube, focusing on building subscribers. Well, today is my first actual podcast that's going out into podcast world and to all the distribution sites. So I will officially be a real podcast, and this is the first episode. So I'm excited for all you guys out there who are out working, who can hear me, and can you hear me? Um, and if you're a musician and you're at your day job right now, I know what that's like. You're doing your day job, but really you're in your head and you're thinking about your band, and you're thinking about the next tour. You're thinking about the next song. You're thinking about your band. And so if you're allowed to listen to podcasts at your work, I'm so stoked that I'm actually able to reach you guys now, and I'm not just in video form. I am actually a official audio podcast, and so I'm stoked. Um, so thank you for joining me. If you're joining me for the first time, the last podcast that I did, I was going over a big checklist that I had created to help musicians use this checklist as a guidelines to basically put themselves and kind of evaluate where they're at in their careers. And it was really a checklist to see where you're measuring up in the grand scheme of things. And um, there is something true about the 1% usually gets the majority of the wealth. And what this whole podcast is really geared towards is getting you guys to be into that 10%. I'm not too focused on the 1% because there's a lot of headaches that come with being in that 1%. And if you go and listen to any of my other podcasts on YouTube that I've put out, I go into great length about all that. But on my last one, going through the checklist, I had started to, at some point, started talking about sales and sales tactics, and I wanted to do an episode just based on sales and sales tactics. And I don't really care for the term. When you hear somebody say sales tactics like that, it's a bit of a red flag. It's just got kind of a negative connotation. But what I'm actually talking about are things that you should and shouldn't do. If you're trying to approach like a club owner, you're trying to sell yourself, trying to sell your band, trying to sell your music, whatever. and your approach, and a lot of things that people do wrong, and a lot of ways that you can completely re-examine your approach to how you deal with people when ultimately you're asking them for something, right? So you're trying to sell them on something, or maybe just sell them on an idea just to get you, a platform to get to play on their stage. The problem is that some people come in with these like overly patronizing attitudes of that, like they're so nice, they're so overly nice that people can see right through that. It's a very thin veneer of kindness, and they know that, like, oh my gosh, like this person is just like like look, nobody's really comfortable with being put on a pedestal. And I think a really good examination of this is if you go into like one of these weed dispensaries, the way that these bud tenders can be overly nice to you, I find it really annoying. Personally, I find it patronizing, and I find it annoying, and something that you don't have to do when if you do get a yes from somebody, or that, like, basically that's just an easy sell, it's a lay down. You don't have to keep selling somebody. You have to make sure that you know when to stop talking. Stop selling when you've gotten a yes. So when I go into like one of these dispensaries and the bud tender is so overly nice to me, I'm just like, dude, save your energy, because I'm already here to purchase your product. I mean, it's okay to be genuinely like, hey, how's it going, and be genuinely nice, but I think you guys know what I mean. I think that we've all experienced that, where it's such a thin veneer of kindness and patronization that you're just like, oh my God, like, can I just get the hell out of here? Because this person is like, they're trying to be nice to me, but they're really actually annoying me. Now, put yourself in the club owner's position, where they know that every musician is trying to snuggle up to them and kiss their ass to get on their stage. And the reason why I'm bringing that up is that that's really no way to win respect. You're not going to get the person to respect you, and you don't get a yes without the respect. I think you really there's a certain amount of respect that's attached to that yes. If they don't respect you, they're not giving you a yes. So just these are mainly just ways of dealing with people when you want something from somebody and you're trying to get a yes from somebody. These are things that I see people do that they need to not do, but other things that they should be doing that they never do. So I'm going to keep going down my little list here, okay? There's a guy named Zig Ziglar, and he talks about something called soft sales. And I think that a really good example of soft sales is if you make, like, say you make chocolate chip cookies, okay, and you go out in the world and you've got your little cookie stand, right? People walking by that like chocolate chip cookies are gonna probably buy your chocolate chip cookies. Now, you might have people coming up to you and asking you if you have coconut. You might have, people coming up to you and asking you for oatmeal. And do you do this? Do you make that? And you can just honestly tell them, no. Because all you're doing is you're offering the cookies that you made, that you specifically made. You specifically made these chocolate chip cookies. Now, just because people are coming up to you and asking you for raisin and all these other cookies, you're not going to stop what you're doing. Run home and start making a bunch of different types of cookies for these people to please everybody. Because by the time you showed up, they'd be gone anyway. And then all the sales that you missed out on selling your chocolate chip cookies, right? Because you got to hyper focus. So the product at some point should probably be able to speak for itself. Now, this is a huge challenge for you guys because we're dealing in music, we're dealing in sound. And so you got to get creative with your branding and your marketing. So that because ultimately what branding and marketing is communication. Your branding is communicating what the product is. And if your branding or your brand and your band or whatever, if it's not communicating what it is, reevaluate it, restructure it, do what you got to do, fix it. Understand that marketing is communication. So that's really hard, right? That's the challenge. But if you can do this, it puts you into the higher percentage bracket of bands and artists that, as independents, you're actually putting yourself ahead of the game by doing that because the communication is so important. They really got to. People have to know what they're buying. So if they look at a cover, they look at a sticker or whatever it is, they gotta know. And you're gonna get people. Music is a great example for the cookies metaphor because that's what your music is. Your music isn't for everybody. It's specialized. Your music is specialized, and we can call it chocolate chip cookies because it's this one thing. And you're not going to veer off and start branching out and start changing your thing to assimilate to what you think everybody wants. That's not the point. The point is that you're finding out who the chocolate chip cookie lovers of the world are. And why do you want to do that? Because that's your audience, right? So it's just one hand feeding the other. And these aren't meant to be punny. So soft sales. Soft sales is it also has to do with one thing that I would say where I see people one thing that people need to be doing when they're selling or communicating to a club owner or about their band or whatever, what they need to do is they need to be better at asking questions. We don't sell anybody on anything. You're not going to use some Jedi mind trick and try to pull one over on somebody. And if you do that, you're gonna get away with that once. So it'll never happen. And then now you have a reputation of just being a liar and a con. And people talk. People talk. So what I would say is that we need to be better at asking questions. So don't try to go and put yourself in every club. Like your band probably isn't going to fit the bill for every club, and you shouldn't be trying to put yourself in every club anyway. You shouldn't be trying to spread yourself so thin and trying to please everybody. You should really make these little homes for yourself. Where the people are really good to you. It's a very reciprocal relationship. But the point is that we need to, if you're going into a club cold and you're trying to get a gig out of them, you might want to get better at asking them what they need and how you can serve them. And if your music actually does serve their place well. And a lot of times you can do that by kind of just exploring the idea. Well, hey, if you allow us to come in here and give us a 45-minute set, we'll come in, we'll test market ourselves, and then you can judge for yourselves if you want to give us, hire us for the night. And that's a really good, that can be a really good win-win way to get into a place for them to, say, okay, well, these people are willing to actually put their money where their mouths are and step up and do that, because by doing that, I think that really says this, we really believe in what we're doing. So I think that's a win-win way of dealing with some of these club owners that might be a little bit hesitant of dealing with you because they don't know you. You're a stranger. So I am going to go ahead and cut it off here. This was kind of a quick one, you guys. I have some more insight on sales and things like that, and that'll be on my next one. This will kind of spill over. The next one is going to be about personality traits of the entrepreneur and the artist, and where the leader and where the creative, and if you have these personality traits and you have these personality types, where you probably sit, or where you should be trying to sit on the socio-sexual hierarchy. And that has to do with alpha, sigma, beta, delta, all that stuff. We're going to go into that. It's actually pretty cool stuff. I know it might be a little bit annoying to some, but I find this stuff really fascinating. And the personality traits and the hierarchy, they kind of, for me, they kind of coexist in ways. So anyways, I just wanted to say thank you guys so much for listening. I'm really looking forward to the next episode. And I just want to say hello for the first time out to podcast world, and I hope you guys dug this, and just keep on listening, and I hope you guys subscribe too. For all my YouTube channel peeps and my subscribers, thank you guys. The channel has been growing, and I'm just going to keep plugging away. But for now, I'll sign out, and cheers.